Hey guys, just last minute live stream. It might be very short. I'm just doing this until my wife gets home. So I just want to talk a little bit about the debate that occurred on the Crucible between the Nutrivore and vegan gays. This was JD from Garland Farms that was debating those two. Andrew, for some reason, invited a second guest. That's fine, but I don't think JD needed any help. They're using that, the vegans, kind of like saying, "Oh, it was a big plan. Garland Farms, he's dumb, so he needed this guy to help him with the debate tactics." Look, Garland Farms is very simple. He's here to present the facts. He's here to show the evidence, and he's here to point out, yes, the hypocrisy and the ignorance of the general public, but especially the vegans, the vegan ideology, and those who, after they know the truth, continue to make excuses. So those people are willingly being ignorant of the facts to support their cult ideology. Um, so JD wasn't, in my opinion, as successful at portraying all the information. He didn't get all of the ability that he did in the first debate, and I think that was basically the tactic. We can see that right from the start, JD reads out the premise. I'm paraphrasing, but it's basically that monocropping and plant agriculture causes more death and more pain and more environmental destruction. That's a bold claim. And that was the premise. So then, after they wanted to kind of do these mental gymnastics and start like, okay, so is this an appeal to hypocrisy? Blah, blah. Look, he just stated this is the facts. Okay. Plant agriculture, destructive. Livestock, less destructive. That's more destructive. And his argument lies on facts of monocropping, what they're putting in the soil, how they're getting the nutrients, the effects of tilling, the effects of soil runoff, the effects on wild animals. Though he doesn't perhaps have the exact numbers, we don't have to survive on one conversation within a conversation. One topic after another has to be validated by some meta-analysis or some kind of research study. Get the numbers, and yes, you can supplement your arguments with science, but you have to actually go through all the biases of that specific research paper. I don't like using that as the main driver. It goes nowhere. One pops up a study and is discredited. The other pops up a study and is discredited. JD was very simple. This causes more destruction and more suffering. What we have to realize also, even though we don't have the numbers of how much wild animals are poisoned by anticoagulant pesticides, how many animals are shot by crop protection with guns. Basically, we have, this is known. It's crop protection. People are hired, or it's the farmers that do it themselves. They're on four-wheelers, and they're just spraying bullets on wild pigs, on deer, all kinds. JD brought a really good point up at the end when Avi and philosophy perspective or something, I forget, something of philosophy in the name. So the importance that you have to realize is that the cow gets slaughtered extremely rapidly. The mouse that eats the anticoagulant can suffer days and sometimes as far as weeks. So every single second, because it's only a couple of seconds, right? Boom, hit the cow, they're dead, slice them. Let's give 60 seconds even. Okay, let's give 120 seconds at worst. But the rat that eats that poison and then day after day gets sicker and sicker, dehydration, pain, bleeding in the eyes, the gums, internal bleeding, shortness of breath, all of these, weakness as the animal bleeds out. Other animals, eat that. It's poisoned, food. They develop it. So what if this one's a couple of million seconds? What if it's just okay? Go down to 1,000 or 100 seconds, which doesn't make sense. That means they would die in minutes. The point is that though we cannot perhaps measure and quantify the, how would you say it, the intensity of suffering, we can definitely take into consideration the time, right? The amount of suffering. So cow, a little bit of suffering, we can give that to them. But we look at the animals being shot, poisoned. There's many, many hundreds and thousands and millions of seconds before they die. So there's a lot more intensity of pain. So should we really be counting one on one? Like one cow, one wild animal. Yeah, but the cow was like slaughtered relatively quickly. This one took weeks. It doesn't matter. It's 1 to 1. Next. No, that doesn't make any sense. Just going to share screen, guys. All right. Crucible. No offense to Bob, but he didn't need to. It's just weird because when Jeffrey and Ali went on there, it was between Jeffrey and Garland, and Ali kind of was there as a second debater that was not decided, and Andrew kind of gave them crap and saying like that's not good debate etiquette. Yeah, now Andrew surprises with this guy. I don't know. That was a weird move. By the way, though, Andrew in the Discord said pretty much predicted exactly how this debate would go down. That they would debate the premise itself, and that they would basically spin this in circles and get nowhere. So JD is now 2 debates and destroyed 4 vegans. He would have been fine.
Who are you asking? Either side. Which one?
I guess I could start because it started. Okay. Yeah. So sorry, by the way, it's 2:00 in the morning here, so I have to be a bit quiet.
And you're on Australian time, right?
No, UK.
Oh, UK time. Okay, yeah. Well, that's good. You're a real person. Yeah. All right, go ahead whenever you're ready.
So yeah, for some backstory, Garland commented on one of my videos, or should I call you Mr. Farms, saying that people had told him to come to Shrim in a debate. And I said, okay, let's get into Zoom. If he said he wanted to go on the Crucible, so I said, okay, well, if we're going to do it, let's have partners. He said he didn't need a partner, but now you have one, so it's fair. And Garland agreed to the following proposition: vegans wish to abolish and criminalise animal agriculture. However, the crop agriculture relied upon by vegans is more unethical than the animal agriculture relied upon by non-vegans. So I'm just with Nick today to witness Garland defend his proposition.
Okay, and Nick, go ahead.
Everything seems to be going well.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
no clue. He's like,
yeah, I guess the first thing right out the gate is I just need like a little bit of clarity about a couple things. Is the proposition basically just like a hypocrisy critique or a hypocrisy objection? Like vegans are saying that they value one thing and then their actions are in contradiction to those values or are in opposition to those values? Is that basically the idea?
It's very simple. This guy here wants to tell you about crop agriculture, what it really is, how it works, and the truth about it, that it has a lot of blood on its hands as well. If you know that information and you verify it and it is true, yes, among other things, it is hypocrisy. But JD goes one step further and says it's not about hypocrisy for most of them. It's about ignorance. They're ignorant of the facts. And JD is here to present the facts. And these guys are here to, do a philosophical circle jerk, doing mental gymnastics, using big words to just stall everything. In a way, they did succeed because this became literally just circular. JD held his guns, said, look, whatever the premise says, that's what I am saying. He didn't play into the game. That's why I think Jim Bob was there. Maybe he knows more of these tactics. But Garland Farms, man, he's the boss. He's the boss. He doesn't need that. He's watched vegans for so many years and made debunking veganism. He knows every trick in the book.
Idea, Garland.
Well, Nick, we went over this pre-show and you agreed. I'm not sure what that was about, but to reiterate what we've already gone over, Nick, what I'm saying is that the crop agriculture, the mainstream crop agriculture that everyone relies upon, including vegans, all vegans, you don't find vegans buying only organic food. In fact, most of the very high-profile vegan influencers preach to their congregation to avoid organic because organic relies upon livestock manure. And so I am saying, and I know this to be a fact, that crop agriculture, mainstream crop agriculture, is much more harmful to the environment and much more damaging and deadly to the animals. Mostly, of course, wild animals, which vegans mock. They mock those deaths. They say crop deaths, though, and they make fun of it. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about...
Now, I did see her speaking at one point. It wasn't in the title of the video, and exactly the same thing. Downplayed the crop deaths. They want nothing to do with that. This was quite obvious. They were successful in completely playing these shenanigans. And Garland Farms, he should have just pushed through when it was his time to talk and just go through the information that he wanted to share, because these guys were really trying to paralyze the situation. Darth Drip Walker. I was in that live stream. I pulled out my shirt and threw it at the crowd while I was playing on my PC some Black Ops 3 custom zombie maps. More practice for my Locust Sniper from Crop Protection. Hey, man, first time I see your name here. Welcome to the live stream. Hey, Alien Drone Service, what up? I noticed you were there. Hi, I'm 8 minutes behind. I'm catching up on double speed. Yeah, we're just kind of going over a bit, doing a live stream, looking at basically the debate and commenting on it. You never know, maybe JD will pop on. Like I said, this is a shorter live stream, just until my wife gets here. I'm not wasting the night on a live stream. When she gets home, that's it.
The ways that
what I can do is invite some people up here on a panel. Jump on if you saw the debate be actually pretty cool just to hear what you guys think. Darth, I don't know you, but I'll take a chance with you. I've had like people pop up porn. So if you guys are interested, there's the link. If you have something to say about the debate with vegan gays and Nutrivore, let's go. So at one point, JD, if we don't get to it, JD calls out Nutrivore, a comment that Nutrivore said in one of the feeds, that basically people who eat animal food, they're basically murderers. They should be thrown in jail and force-fed whatever. And JD, I'm paraphrasing, but he read it word per word and said, and throw them in jail, and we feed them whatever fucking diet they want. We want to feed them, basically a vegan diet. I also saw this little guy up here, Nutrivore. He was there was the dumbest friggin' discussion about cats which are obligate carnivores, being fed a vegan diet. I was looking at the discussion. There was stupidity, right down to well, you could give the cats supplements. So now you're feeding. We're omnivores at least, but now you're feeding obligate carnivores a vegan diet and then giving them supplements. And Nutrivore, the guy that wants to throw us all in prison and feed us a fucking vegan diet, as he said in the comments. So he basically said, well, what if this unnatural diet for the dogs made them healthier? Why are you pushing the limits of the natural? They're cats. They happen to need to eat animal food. They're obligate carnivores. This idea after, I don't think it was with them, or maybe it was with Avi, about the cecum. JD was trying to explain hindgut fermentation, explaining how the bacteria within these very unique chambers that we don't have, or we don't have that size, or it's not functional to that level. The bacteria is able to take all of this grass or grains, corn, soy, whatever you want, and they're able to create nutrients with that. Volatile fatty acids, for example. So the cow is actually absorbing a very high fat diet. The herbivore is actually feeding the bacteria mostly within its abdomen, and the bacteria are producing a lot of the nutrients. Obviously, the protein, they have the ability to obtain protein with this leftover scraps that they get. Just see if somebody wants to jump on. Nobody wants to jump on. Guys, the link, I'd be really interested if anybody wants to come on that's seen the debate. You don't have to come on with the camera if you want to maintain some privacy. Just turn the camera off and vocally come up here and tell me what you think about the debate.
Crop agriculture destroys the environment and kills animals and drives suffering of animals exponentially. So get ready, Nick.
Well, wait a second. I don't think I actually got an answer to my question. Is this particular proposition?
If you want to call it the hypocrisy thing, then you go ahead. I'm not playing your game, Nick.
So that was the answer, and that was answered at 14 minutes. He's asking the question, is this an argument from hypocrisy? JD says, I don't care. I'm not telling you. There's a statement, and that's it. He let him know, I'm not playing your games. You can think whatever it is. There's my statement, and they were supposed to hold the vegan position, which for some reason they're like, no, we came here to debate. We have really no position, and we're just going to sit here and analyze, your premise.
Okay, wait.
I just told you what this was about.
Okay, wait. So the proposition that you originally opened with, like, basically you're just saying that vegans value one thing and they're doing another?
No, Nick, I just explained it to you. You're trying to reword my proposition.
Well, wait, let's go over the proposition.
Hang on, gentlemen. Jim Bob, do you think maybe you could bring a little clarity in?
It sounds like instead of the word hypocrisy, Nick, maybe that your entire position would be arbitrary. And if it wasn't arbitrary, you'd have to present an ethical system, a meta-ethical system, to determine what is and isn't ethical. And then Garland Farms here would probably follow through with his argument, showing that whatever your position is, how unethical it is to eat meat, that he would show it's more unethical to eat, to just do veggie farming and kind of ignore the animals altogether.
Well, wait a second. I'm not here defending a position. I'm here.
You don't have a position in a debate?
Yeah, well, hang on.
You're not here to
Hang on.
defend a
No,
position.
wait.
That's
Yeah, so we got some comments here. Hey, Darla Lama. DD Diamond Design says best part was JD yelling to measure the soybean and soybeans. Yeah, that was like annoying me. He's trying to say, look, how many soybeans are used to create oil? 90% of the soybeans are used to extract the oil. The leftover garbage, which they call soy cake, soy meal, soy crush, this leftover garbage that humans have nothing to do with is then sold to the animals, and the animals eat the leftovers. So what Garland Farms was trying to say is the soy saga of 2023. He was trying to explain it's not fair to extract the oil, to have 100% of that oil consumed by humans, and the leftover garbage, they take advantage to sell it to the animal, and it happens to weigh more. Also, they're making an argument that there's a certain amount of calories that go into the cow. Let's say 20,000 calories goes into the cow, but only 5,000 comes out, 10,000, whatever. There's a loss of calories. Why is there a loss of calories? It's because you're putting in calories, and there's ample amount of calories in the world to feed everyone, but you're lacking nutrients because there's no nutrients in the corn, soy, and rice and these things. So you're putting in calories, which you have ample amounts, and that goes into the animal, and through bacterial fermentation, that animal produces nutrients that previously did not exist in reality. So they're nutrient amplifiers. They're also soil amplifiers. So ruminant animals are amazing blessings, from God. It's an amazing symbiotic relationship that all the ruminant animals had with the soil. Don't talk to me about the methane emissions, the CO2 emissions. Do not tell me that animals that God put on earth here, okay, all of the creatures that he created, and that these creatures that he created on this earth that are highly adapted in building up soil and creating nutrients, okay, and giving back CO2. By the way, okay, that's the cow's way of saying thank you. Here is some CO2 for the plants to make some more carbon and carbohydrates. It's not a bad thing. Okay, plants take the CO2 and produce the oxygen. So you guys and all of these ignorant people are taking a natural ecological cycle and blaming the high ammonia and methane and CO2 emissions. Why is ammonia CO2 emissions an issue? Well, there's other reasons, right? There's industry, there's energy, there's a lot of other sectors that are amping up these levels. Don't tell me that ruminant animals, whatever the hell's coming out of them, that's natural, okay? That's part of the system. Why is ammonia an issue? Is there other things that are unnatural, that are not man-made, that are elevating the ammonia levels besides the cows that are part of the ecological cycle? The idea that if we removed the cows, the ruminant animals, that we would no longer have a renewable resource to replenish the soil's nutrients with the manure, among other things. Just going to check here, see if anybody's
That's
brave.
not how I'm interpreting this. That's not how I'm.
What are you here to
do?
do?
Well, a proposition was put on the table.
Yeah.
I'm calling it into question.
That's what happened in my comment
That's what's
section.
happening here.
Yeah.
So
This is the problem with the vegans is they don't want to get their head wrapped around the actual destruction caused by their diet. So what they want to do is they want to come on a debate channel and play games, play dirty debate.
do a
tactics.
debate.
Well, wait a second.
You've
So
made a proposition.
you put a proposition on the table,
Yeah.
and I'm
And,
calling it into
now you're
question.
rewording it. We've already agreed on a proposition, and now you're trying to hedge me into a corner and putting that into your words. And Nick, it's not going to happen, my friend.
Well,
Nick-
wait a second. Just
Nick-
just give me a moment. Just give me a moment.
He just keeps on repeating over and over. So what do you think here, buddy?
Hey.
Hey, bud, what's up? What do you think of this fiasco?
Oh, well, I just wanted to say it was a little confusing, but it was good that JD posted his video today that says why they lost the debate, because
Yeah.
it provided a lot of good context, I think.
Yeah.
Because especially since JD was saying, "Oh, you guys want to put us in prison and feed us vegan food." And
Yeah,
I didn't understand where that was
really-
coming from. I didn't realize Nick had actually said that.
Yeah, it's pretty extreme. Like when they're in their own domain, things get really weird. Like I said, I was kind of snooping around about Nutrivore also, and all I saw was like a debate about feeding cats a vegan diet. They're obligate carnivores, and this obsession that well, let's make this obligate carnivore, not understanding literally the why they're obligate carnivores, like their digestive tract is not like omnivores or herbivores. And somebody in that community said, just give the cats supplements, because somebody asked, like, well, won't there be things that, yeah, just give the cat supplements, literally. So you're going to give your kitty cat supplements, feed it a vegan diet. And then after, what was and he just basically said, Nutrivore, well, what if this unnatural diet with the supplements and stuff like that, what if it's healthier? And I was like, oh, good Lord, like these guys are completely just wacky.
Well, that's always been Nick's his point of view is that at least on his channel, I think where he's coming from with a lot of his videos that he's doing over there. If you watch his videos,
I won't.
He's one of the things I think that he comes back to a lot is the unnatural diet can easily be more healthy than the traditional historic diet.
Yeah.
Or paleo, what we developed as humans.
Which they should have the burden of proof. But the problem is that they're really big on studies, okay? But there are studies that we present, and I've gone through it many times. If we look at vitamin A, so let's say I'm trying to convince you to be a vegan. Okay, listen, it's like, at least be honest about this stuff, because there's some people that cannot convert convert beta carotene, which is a precursor to retinol. So vitamin A, true vitamin A is retinol, and you get that in animal food. So when you see on the vegan side vitamin A, it's not vitamin A, it's beta carotene. And if you look at the conversion rate, it varies drastically from 65% down to 5%. So I'm convincing you, okay, Alien Drone, listen, okay, and you mentioned the B12, everyone mentions the B12, but they should say, like, but we're doing this for the animals, and there are some nutrients that you got to pay attention to that you might become deficient in, because it varies tremendously among the population. To try and push this kind of never before tried supplement required, fortified food required diet, that when JD shows that it's actually extremely destructive to the environment, and we can show that it's lacking tons of nutrients. And then we can look at the supplement company and say, look how destructive the supplement company. Do you think there's somebody in the lab, and stuff like that? No, these are supplement companies are industrial as well. So if we just go if we just look at the nutrients, and the argument starts with the nutrients, it is unfair for us to eat a diet that has certain essential nutrients that actually just don't exist. And we've shown over and over, okay, studies talking about omega-3, the EPA and the DHA. We get that naturally in all animal food in that form that's ready to be used. It's bioactive. Then after we look at the alpha linoleic acid, the ALA, in these chia and hemp seeds and all that, where they're talking about getting omega-3. Look at the literature. The conversion is 3.8, 1.6. It's pathetic. So if I was convincing you, I'd be, okay, listen, we're doing this for the animals, but this diet is devoid of omega-3, DHA, and EPA. So you either have to supplement massively because you're not going to get anything with those chia seeds. The retinol, pay attention if you're a new vegan, because you don't know if you're a 65% converter into retinol or unfortunately a 5% converter. The 65% converters, they might last a lot longer, but another vegan might not even last that long because immediately the vitamin A is going to screw them. And if you're taking vitamins and supplements, guess what? It's never in the retinol form. You're just receiving more beta carotene with a side bottle that says vitamin A. Then after we look at the non-heme compared to the heme iron, it's like, look, there's women that eat heme iron that are anemic, but we have studies, and I've published them in India as a good example. India is not completely vegan, but there's about 30% of their population, and you have the ability there to compare the nutritional deficiencies in India compared to other things. So they're making a drastic claim that we should all become vegan, because if not, we're murderers, and we should be thrown in jail, like Nutrivore said in the comment, and be fed a fucking vegan diet. So that's pretty militant and stuff like that. You know, that's pretty cultish and hypocritical. JD came very clearly. Here's the premise. I'm making that claim. Shut the hell up and listen to the stuff I have to say, and I have the proof to back it. That was basically what he succeeded to do with Ali and Jeffrey. Here, I don't know why JD just didn't push through, like just stop acknowledging it, because he did that very early. He stopped. He said, Nick, don't pull this crap with me. This is a premise. And he should have just started when it was like, in between, when he had the opportunity, just start laying out like he did the first time, all the information for the viewers. They succeeded. They didn't win. They looked obviously complete morons. But they did manage to kind of tongue tie the whole debate. It's hilarious that Andrew predicted this. He wrote like, this is what's going to happen. And it happened. Anyways, I'll let you talk a little bit there, everybody. Tangent.
Do you follow Harry Serpanos?
Nope.
He's a friend of Bart Kay's. They don't agree on everything, but Harry's really, really, really well read in nutrition. And he says that we also need to consider that some people have pastoralists in their ancestry, and so they need dairy to be healthy.
Yeah.
And then some people, like the Irish, maybe ate a lot of fish, their ancestors, and so they need fish to be healthy. And so that goes to your point that some people need animal nutrients more than others, and some people need some certain types of animal nutrients more than others. Some people can live fine without dairy. Some people really need dairy. Some people can live fine without fish. Some people really need fish.
Yeah, I mean, when I looked at, I got to get it back. I lent it to a coworker. I have two old videos where I go through one chapter in the video and then the other. The Weston A. Price research. I think that is an extremely powerful. It's extremely powerful data that is truly non-biased. And if people would open up that book, look at what previously cultures that were not in contact with modern people and modern processes like flour, sugar, canned goods. They were eating a diet that had been passed on in their, through generations. It was their culture. They were very smart. They ate, if they were eating ruminant animals, they all ate the organs as well. And you see that it was not a wide variety in all of these cultures. Like if you look at the people living in Switzerland, in the Swiss Alps, they had ruminant animals that they grazed. They collected all the milk, and they made like kefir. It was full fat milk, cheeses, and stuff like that. And they were able to grow in that region rye. And that's basically was the staple. They lived off all kinds of dairy products. They supplemented that with rye for calories, for energy, because they were active in the fields, and they had very small amounts of meat. This was probably obviously cycling through the animals. Once they were producing less milk, they would eat. So they were limiting the red meat just because, not because it was unhealthy. They were extremely strong. We had the Gaelics that were on mossy, rocky islands. They were unable to do anything but the shellfish. So they were able to grow oats on there, and they would basically eat, the fish that they caught. And their big staple was cod liver stuffed in the head of the fish with oats. And you look at all of these analysis on health, on bone density, on the width of their jaw, their nasal dentition, and they were all beautiful human specimens. Then after he was able to compare certain areas that were in contact, so the same genetics, right, in the same color, but now they're starting to do some trade with the modern men, and their teeth became, decayed, complete degeneration of their health. So he was able to come out of there with a conclusion that white flour was very bad. It's just pure sugar. That canned goods, like vegetables that are canned, by the time you can them, they're really devoid of all the nutrients. Those are lost. He was heavily against the seed oils back then. Just as the seed oils, the soybean, the canola, all of those began to be sold and consumed by humans, Weston A. Price, boom, caught it right away and said that is going to be a problem. So all the science is there. We have information of very healthy cultures, what they ate, what they did not eat, and their health. So now we're all sick, and we're going around trying to do these stupid observational or epidemiological studies that prove associations and no causation. And we're looking at a sick population, and we're blaming. And the people that are blaming are actually the people that have a economic incentive, okay, to push all of these subsidized grains. Are actually the people that have a economic incentive. Sorry. Hey, JD.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, everything's good.
Oh, good.
Hi, JD.
Hi. Alien Drone Services?
Yes, thanks for posting that video you posted today. That was really that really put a lot of context on the debate, because I was a little confused during the debate, and then it was your video today cleared it up.
What was it that you were confused about?
Well, you were saying you kept coming back to Nick with you guys want to put us in jail and make us vegan, and I'm like, where's that coming from? And then you posted that video today. I was like, oh my god, they actually said that.
Yeah, that's some crazy cult mentality right there.
Was that the only thing that you weren't?
Oh, and then the the hypocrisy thing that they were trying to, and then towards the end of your video, you showed that they were actually planning on using that as a tactic to avoid debating what you wanted to debate.
Correct.
The one thing, JD, is you held your guns. You well, here's my look on it. First of all, Jim Bob, nice guy. Hey, the guy got invited. It's Andrew that invited you. You didn't need anybody. Jabob, like, was supporting well the side. You didn't need that person. I thought it was a little bit weird because Andrew kind of gave crap to Jeffrey when he brought Ali. And then I was like, because he was like, you didn't mention it, and then he brought Jim Bob. But anyways, you were very clear with your premise, and it seemed like they just wanted to focus on deconstructing the premise itself instead of using the premise as a sign to go in that direction. I find that they spun you around, JD, for a long time, where, in my opinion, you should have just ignored every time and just presented like you did in the first one. You held your guns, but you should have just, popped up, for example, the soy from our world data. Do you mind if I show it now? Because obviously people are watching this video in context as a response or a review to what happened yesterday. Perhaps they don't know all of it, or maybe the vegans will be watching this, and it's important because this has nothing to do with actually nutrivore. It has more to do with Avi. What was the guy's name at the end?
Avi.
Right? Avi and perspective philosophy or something. You were trying to express this whole soybean saga that I've done 7 videos on, and that didn't get across. You kind of said it. There was a lot of back and forth, and then he just said, like, no, it's more like 50%. So it sucks with the Crucible that you cannot put your share screen up. It would be so much more easier if while you're speaking you could share screen. Because so I'd like to at least just quickly share what I did another video actually that I'm going to post, but I didn't show this on the live stream just in case the vegans are looking, because they said that you were a liar about the soybean. So we're not going to waste too much freaking time on the soybean, but I think it's worth it. Do you see this okay, JD?
Yep.
All right. So you did mention our world of data. So this is what JD didn't have a time to get it. If you look at the actual the composition of the soybean itself, which is being used by humans 100% in the form of oil extraction, the other part, the husk, the useless material, as well as the remainder of whatever is left from the oil extraction, this is fed as animal feed to the ruminant animals, okay, to the livestock. It specifically even says over here in brackets, soybean processed to soy cake for feed. Where are you getting the soybean and the processed soy cake? This is the leftover from the oil. So all of this, okay, in weight is more, but they're trying to talk about weight. That's because there's a lot of useless material to the humans. But that oil, all of that, every soybean is sucked out for oil, and all of that leftover, they take advantage of it and they feed that garbage to the animals. So here's the proof. And we see this again. This is our world in data. JD didn't have time to present it, and they completely denied it. 300 million tons, okay? Where's the soybean going? All processed animal feed, biofuel, and vegetable oils. The actual consumption of humans and animals is irrelevant how small it is. This is all consumed by humans. And then they take advantage and they feed the cows the leftover crap. And this goes on and on. We have citations saying the exact same thing. 7% is fed directly to animals as soybean, but the remainder is processed as soy cake. More evidence. Talking here, while we use our world of data, all we're mentioning is we're using what Jeffrey and Ali brought up, and we're just pointing out that there is perhaps a conflict of interest. But even with their own data, JD proves the point. All right, I'll shut up.
Did we lose someone?
Yeah, I'll put. I didn't realize. The problem is when I pop the screen up, I can't see the studio. I'll put it back here. Okay, so what were they trying to do, JD? In your opinion, with starting right away with the question about the actual premise? What would have happened if you would have said, among other things, there's ignorance, and if a vegan then knows this truth and has investigated because they really want to minimize animal harm, then yes, of course, it's hypocrisy. But I think you were just trying to come with facts, right? You didn't want to do these analogies. You just wanted to say, here's the actual facts and the misconceptions, like you did in the first debate.
Well, I'm going to refer to. Hold on a sec.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, here it is. So here's what he was trying to do was he was trying to corral me into what they call a dialogue tree. So a dialogue tree is sort of like a flow chart. So if I ask you a question, in other words, I write out a script and I ask you a series of yes or no questions.
Yeah.
If you answer yes to this question, then I take you over here, and that's a dead end street for you.
Yeah.
If you answer no to that question, then I take you over here, and that is also a dead end street for you. It's a way that they try to end the debate early without actually getting into the details that they do not want exposed. This is a question that was posed to Nick, the Nutrivore, over on his channel. And the guy asked him in the comments, he said, why would it have been a disadvantage for Garland Farms to admit that his proposition was a hypocrisy claim?
Yeah.
And Nick, the Nutrivore, replied to him and says, because it places an astronomical empirical burden on him if he answers yes. And it's just something trivial and pointless if he answers no.
There's a guy that's linked to, I guess they hang around with this guy. It's Ask Yourself. So Ask Yourself, Vegan Gains. These guys, that's all they do is do because that's what I used to look at. It goes nowhere. That's why Andrew was able to say, oh, okay, this thing is going to revolve around the premise. Nothing's going to be accomplished. And then they're going to go and say, just clap their hands and go, oh my goodness, they don't know how to debate. They broke debate rules. It's like, why don't you just shut up and have a conversation? JD wants to present some stuff. You can try and debunk it. But he likes, you want to bring something to their attention and get a response. Hey, look, if this is happening, what's your response? None of that happened. For them, mission accomplished. Because I'm looking at the vegan side and they're like celebrating again.
Well, I disagree. I disagree that it was mission accomplished.
Obviously,
I think that what you mentioned what you thought that the way I probably the way you think I should have handled it, but let me give you a different perspective.
Sure.
Had I started to just present my information, I would not have been able to finish. It would have been little things that were taken out of context. I wouldn't have been able to take the stage and just keep the stage. I would have been interrupted, and they would have said, we need to get back and revisit this proposition because we're not going to take any kind of position on anything that you're saying until we get this clarified. And so there really was no use in me trying to get out all of that information. I had to make a compromise and I had to change my goal. So when I went into that, of course, my goal was to expose crop agriculture for how destructive it is to the environment and harmful to humans, harmful to animals, exponentially more harmful than animal agriculture. But they made the decision to derail the entire debate sooner rather than later. And so what I decided to do was use that instead of as an educational opportunity for the dark side of crop agriculture, to use it as an opportunity to expose the underhanded debate tactics that these vegans were using, as well as just the overall dishonesty. You know, they're over there pretending to celebrate, but they're trying to make lemonade from lemons is what they're trying to do. They're trying to pull themselves up out of the mud. They made absolute asses of themselves.
Yeah. They
lost credibility. There was blatant lies that were told in the question answer session at the end by like Avi. I think it was Avi that came on and he was trying to explain that these large animals, they're strong and all they do is eat plants. And I tried to explain them that a gorilla, for instance, is a hindgut fermenter. And I was going to explain the science behind how a hindgut fermenter acquires large amounts of protein and fats and nutrients like vitamin B12 from that functioning cecum. And he interrupted me and said, "They don't have a functioning cecum. You're a liar. You're a liar. I just looked it up in Google, and gorillas do not have a functioning cecum. You're a liar." And he was straight up lying when he said that. And there were people that looked that up on Google afterwards, and he was exposed as a childish liar. And he's someone that supposedly is highly respected in vegan debate circles. And he came across as an absolute troglodyte.
They look so ridiculous. It's like they thought that they were going to sit there without a position, and Socrates and Plato over there sitting down using. Look, I've seen Ask Me, I've seen Vegan Gains. I saw that one with Ask Me. It was when there was that Primal Edge Health with Tristan Haggard. Ask Yourself was humiliated. Then he was obsessed about getting another one, and this is exactly what it looks like. They were gaslighting, like as if like I don't understand, and it was like they didn't want to engage in the premise at all, but it was quite obvious to everybody and anybody.
The only ones that it's not clear to what they're doing, it's actually clear to them. If you look at the people who are saying, "Oh, well, you know, what's wrong with clarifying the proposition?" You know, just clarify it. And the fact is that we clarified it 12, 13 days ago. And they said what they said, and I showed I showed Ellie's or Vegan Gays. I showed her comment where she said, "We are happy with this proposition. We are happy with it." And so the reason they were happy with it is because they looked at it and they said, "Can we use this to hedge him into a dialogue tree so that we can short circuit the debate and shut the debate down. That's what their game plan was. Their game plan was to win the debate by shutting down the debate, by having me being hedged into this dialogue tree. In other words, and there was at one point where I met them halfway and I said, okay, I will clarify beyond what you've already agreed to. And I will tell you that it's not hypocrisy, it's ignorance.
Yeah.
And the truth is that by and large, most vegans are not activists. Most vegans are not out there trying to sell bullshit stories. They're not out there lying. No, they're just ignorant of the facts. And there are many vegans. In fact, I would say the majority of real vegans, because I don't see these activists as real vegans. I don't even think that they are vegans. I really believe behind the scenes, they're consuming not just clams and bivalves, but beef liver and goose liver and ground beef and chicken. They're eating everything that they're claiming is murder. I guarantee you they are.
Yeah.
And so, but by and large, the vegan community, the real sincere vegan community, they're ignorant. They are extremely ignorant of agriculture, both animal and crop agriculture. They don't know these details.
No,
and so
I have a vegan. He used to be a coworker. Now he's a little bit higher. He's the assistant, and we don't talk about it. But he's vegan, and we had to stop talking about this 4 years ago and stuff like that. He was just becoming vegan, and I can show him this, and it's just a cognitive dissonance. It's just like they're really in a cult. It's weird. It's like it's deceptive because the more you're vegan, the less sharp you're becoming, more brain fog, and you're not on your toes, and then you can't even understand. Anyways, I won't get into it, but just to say, it's always the same thing talking to vegans. I even made a video about that. Like, I'm not wasting my time talking to vegans. They're dishonest.
For every one of those guys, there's someone like that person that was in the comment section of the Jeffrey debate who said in the comments, I've been vegan for 8 years and no one ever told me any of this stuff. And now that I see the truth, the stuff that Garland has brought to light, I can't do this anymore. I'm not going to continue to be vegan. Tomorrow I'm going to the store. I'm going to buy some eggs. Yeah. And that's what he said. So there are a lot of people like you're talking about that are cognitively dissonant, but there are other people out there that are sincere.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's a lot of, like you said, they watch a Netflix movie, they're horrified by, the images that are the worst images possible, if not created, like you had mentioned, by the vegans themselves for shock value. And a lot of people don't even know the side of the box, what a carbohydrate. When I explain a ketogenic diet and stuff like that, then all of a sudden they're like, oh, okay, yeah, I don't consume white sugar. I'm already ketogenic. I'm like, you don't understand. All of these are glucose molecules. Majority of people don't know the side of the box. They're completely ignorant. So it's easy to deceive them. But yeah, it's very important, the information. And that's, like you just said, I was pretending that if I was a vegan trying to convince alien drone, I would be honest at least and really say, like, look, the facts about vitamin A, the facts about EPA and DHA, B12, go through all of the nutrients and be honest about it and say it's for the animals. And, there's a risk. Imagine throwing this globally with so many people with different abilities to process all of these plant nutrients. I had a study, any study, you punch in India. There's a lot of studies about India, and India is not completely vegan either. It's about 30%. a lot of vegetarians, but they eat ghee and a lot of chicken and stuff like that. But you look at the nutrient deficiencies and they compare it even to the Western standard American diet, and it fares a lot worse. And that's an easy little example, a little petri dish there to imagine what would happen if this would go globally. Because don't forget, this nutrivore is so cult driven that in his heart, like when he's being honest, when he's not trying to put an image in front of us normal people, he's literally like talking like, throw these fuckers in jail and force feed them vegetables, ha ha ha. Like that is a dangerous, and that's what happens when you're vegan for a long time with the nutritional deficiencies. We've gone through some of those studies too. That violence and the loss of empathy, the loss of comedy. It's you could look into it. Anyways, I'll shut up. I'll let you guys talk.
I just wanted to jump in here again. I remember from a few years ago, there was an interview with Primal Edge Health.
Yeah.
And, he's an ex-vegan. He was saying that he has some firsthand knowledge of what these high-profile vegan influencers are actually eating. And he said that they're all eating meat.
Probably.
And also, you mentioned India. There's a couple of things about India. One is you have a lot of family pressure there to be vegetarian.
Yeah, because of their religion.
Right. And we know what happens when there's family pressure to be one way and you want to be another, so there's a lot of cheating that goes on there. People secretly eat meat in India. So you have a lot of that going on.
Some of them don't even secretly. It's like anywhere. There's only about 30% probably of practicing Hindus, but it's also cultural, right? But some of them, because it's very multicultural where I work and stuff like that. There's people from all over the world, and a lot of them are most of them are vegetarian, but they do have stuff like ghee, and a lot of them. But anyways, a lot of these studies that they want to, this is a really good study. Often it's vegetarian, so it's not even a vegan, but they'll use the vegetarian diets, and when they fare fare better than which one? It's never like a healthy diet that we eat here. Lots of animal food, vegetables on the side, a small amount of fruits. Understand, carbohydrates. Don't be scarfing down carbs when you're just sitting there watching Netflix for 3 days. It's just a basic understanding of food, Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, most people are misled. There's not a population around the world that's been told the truth about optimal human nutrition. It probably started with the USDA pyramid, and all of these diseases began to skyrocket. And I'm sure that translated into, exponential profits for industries like the pharmaceutical industry.
Yeah.
And then other governments, which have also been captured by large corporations, followed suit with their own version of the USDA pyramid type scheme, and the amount of plant foods that we've all been eating has been going up and up and up. And I know for citizens of the U.S., we're at about 70% plant-based, and we've never been sicker.
Yeah. The whole issue is we're overdosing on calories, and we're deficient in actual nutrients. That's the thing. And just the if you notice when they were trying to talk about calories, let's say we have, the analogy, 20,000 calories here of grain, wheat, soy, whatever, that they say, we could feed, feed the world with. even though they're not acknowledging that we're not feeding that directly. We're using it, and then we're feeding the garbage. But let's just assume there's 20,000 calories available to humans. That is put into a cow. Now they keep on saying that you put 20,000 and you only get 10,000 out there, so you're losing calories as if we're devoid of we're not already being buried in freaking calories and deficient in nutrients. What they don't understand is this is worthless and there's no nutrients in it. It goes into the cow and there's bacterial fermentation, and what comes out are nutrients that didn't even exist prior. This is a nutrient amplifier and a soil amplifier. The ruminant animal is a necessity to the soil. They're bonded together. It's just they don't understand that.
I'll be right back.
The cow is creating nutrients. They're not thinking of the nutrients. They're not talking about it's always calories and stuff like that. Like, doesn't that make sense? That like ruminant animals are extremely important because they create nutrients that are devoid. They're unable to attain in the plants. It like magically makes what we need, and then we eat it, and we're good. It's not a hard concept.
Yeah, I wish that had been explained to me when I was in college and taking geography, because I actually asked the teacher that. Because I was confused about where the Native Americans were getting their nutrition from, and why didn't they just get it from plants? I didn't understand that the animals are concentrating the plant nutrition and transforming it.
Yeah.
And so I learned that later, but I mean that would have been a really good thing for the teacher to say in return.
Yeah,
when I asked the question.
I believe that fat makes you fat kind of thing. Completely confused also until I did keto, and I'm not somebody that jumps into something just from a Netflix or something. I looked into it. I looked into the science behind it, and the fat was a concern. It was like, okay, well, fat causes heart attack. Looked into all that, and it was all shadows. It was all debunked, and it was just large corporations that use all of these studies that are being published. Just that's what the scientists do. They just publish. That's their job. And then corporations or government policies, or both in bed together, can look at these observational studies, but they'll tell it in big things in magazines. Observational studies. It's associated. It's linked. There's an increased risk. That's not causation. And they'll send those things, and that manipulates the way the masses eat. Because it's repeated over and over, and most people have an attention span now of about like 30 seconds. So the lie propagates. I did veganism for a year and a half. About JD was open-minded. He did veganism. So it's like we're not coming from we're coming from an area that we were duped to. We were open-minded. The strongest argument against veganism is all of the people that do videos that say why I'm not vegan anymore. They are the ones that should be the most outspoken, because they were in it and they came out of it, and it's always the same reasons why they came out of it. I mean, they're losing their periods on vegan diets. They're thinning their hair. There's all sorts of deficiencies that are quite apparent. Anybody eating a garbage diet for the first year and a half, maybe even 2 years, eating just plants will feel amazing. It's kind of like a fast. They're avoiding all the garbage. They're just eating plants. They're fat, so they're losing weight. They can afford to eat, a deficient diet, but eventually it catches up to them. They all look skinny and gaunt. And the ones that don't is, like you guys said, they're eating some kind of animal food. They're freaking lying. It's like a guy criticizing about porn, and meanwhile, like he's doing it and stuff like that.
I actually do not think that most people feel terrific. I don't think it works like a fast with most people. And this is one of the reasons why. What is the dropout rate after 1 year?
I don't know. I heard like after 3 years, 97%, but I don't know the actual statistics. But we're in that ballpark, I'm sure, right? You know the actual number?
No, but I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to say the wrong statistic, JD. We'll have Jeffrey making you're a liar. You lied.
Poor Jeffrey.
Can I jump in for a second?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Do you follow Belinda Fettke?
No.
She has some good talks on YouTube about the global influence of the processed food industry, as well as the that church, you know. But the global processed food industry is controlling the global nutrition guidelines. They stack all the boards and they use their money as influence because they're so that's
it has nothing to do with nutrient requirements. It's a way of making it so that we're consuming as much array, like a whole like group, and you see the subsidized on the bottom. So it was all corporate economical strategy to make that pyramid. They've admitted it. It's not even based on science. Go ahead.
Yeah, and then the church I was thinking of was the Seventh-day Adventists.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they started out in the 19th century trying to get people to stop eating animal foods.
Yeah. Kellogg's himself, said that meat makes you carnal, makes you horny, basically, and he invented Kellogg's cornflakes, which is just like pure garbage. There's nothing in there. And he said, and I think he's the one that really coined and pushed breakfast is the most important meal of the day, which is not true. Most people are not hungry when they get up. Okay. The best time to eat actually is towards the end of the night, because you're going to eat, these people that like, I'm going to eat before going weight train. That's always made me tired. Like I'll eat to replenish myself after, and you should eat later in the evening because you need the digest and rest, the parasympathetic system, and that'll just naturally happens when it makes you sleepy. So I eat towards I haven't eaten yet and it's like 11. I'm not hungry. I have my blade roast downstairs. I'll eat maybe if I'm hungry. If I'm not, then I'll eat when I'm hungry. And it seems like when I'm doing this diet, I have no cravings and I feel great. My cognition is good. The weight comes off.
But Belinda Fettke pointed out that John Harvey Kellogg, when he was very young, I think he was like 12 years old, he had transcribed Ellen G. White's book.
Yeah.
She was the founder of the Seventh-day Adventists.
Yeah.
He had transcribed her book where she talks about how animal foods make people masturbate. So the point of the diet that they were trying to get people onto was to stop masturbation.
Yeah, he was obsessed with it.
Yes, back then the Seventh-day Adventist belief was that man could live forever. They believed that we had the ability to live forever here on earth, but that what killed us was sin. And they believed that most people were dying, quote, by their own hand because they were masturbating, and they believed that the most prevalent sin that was killing us was masturbation. And so they not only fed us cereal in an act of trying to decrease our libido, and I'll argue that eating meat doesn't make you horny. It just makes you fertile. It makes you healthy and fertile. And human beings have a biology. We require certain nutrients in order to be able to reproduce. What makes you horny are things like attractive members of the opposite sex. Just because you're eating meat does not mean that you're going to eat, a big sirloin steak and then all of a sudden you're this big horn dog. That's not the way it works. You know, it makes you, maybe the word is virile. It makes you healthy. And
explain to them why, though, like which nutrients, the fat, cholesterol, D. Explain why eating Dr. Kellogg's and the Seventh-day Adventist, why it actually does prevent you from masturbating, because your libido is going to be gone because you have no sex hormones, right? Because it's this stupid thing that if you actually eat what you're made of, it's beneficial. So if you're fat, cholesterol, and protein in these nutrients, it's just weird. You eat these and everything starts working out. So the vegan diet is used with ascetics and religious people who don't want to do, the Buddhists and stuff like that. They don't want anything of this world and lusting and stuff. So they'll do these fast and veganism, and it's true. Your libido goes because you're not providing the actual cholesterol, D3, the fats that the actual hormone is made of. Go ahead, JD.
Yeah, part of it is you're not supplying the body with the nutrition required to create testosterone, estrogen, progesterone. All of these hormones require cholesterol as feedstock to create it. But then also just your general health and fitness, if it goes down, for instance, the cereal grains contain a lot of phytic acid. That's going to be handicapping your ability to absorb things like calcium, magnesium, things that don't necessarily go into making testosterone, for instance, but things that will withhold nutrients from you that downgrade your overall general health and fitness, your general, biophysical, biochemical well-being goes down. And when that happens in a general fashion, then it makes sense that your libido would be squashed to some degree because you're not as fit for reproduction. And I'll tell you why. Why we're designed that way, and this is the way that even animals in the wild are designed this way, is because every nutrient out there, if the mother, for instance, is deficient in a certain nutrient, then you can end up giving birth to a child that's got a birth defect. And I know that firsthand because my brother was born with spina bifida, and he's had like 35 surgeries over his life so far, and he's probably not done, and he's in his 50s. Yeah. So it's a lifelong hardship for these people. And it comes from, in this case, we know that a B12 deficiency, a folate deficiency, both of those, either or both, can lead to, a child being born with spina bifida. And so the way the system is set up, you can look at it either just the way we evolved or the way God created us. It doesn't matter. The truth is that we're designed, like the animals, to be more prone to reproduce, not only just straight up able to reproduce, but also the desire to reproduce is going to be higher when you're fit for that task.
Yeah. Listen, guys, I just saw my wife with her pants off, so I'm going to go to bed now. I have to cut this off.
Okay. Good night.
Good night.
Go be a good husband. See you guys.
Good night.
Bye.